Michael, we've come to the end of the training camp here in Belfast. How would you reflect on the week?
It's been a great week. We've had a really good time. The hotel's been great. We're obviously familiar with it from last year, and obviously I'm really familiar with it, having used it for the national team for a long period of time. And training's been good, and we've had magnificent weather, which is all we can ask, really.
And the facilities as well that you've had have been excellent.
Yeah, they've been very good. They've looked after us great down at Civil Service. We've been able to work, morning, afternoons, and have a nice sort of training day away from the hotel as well. So overall, as I say, we've had everything that we were hoping to get, and obviously we finished with the game tomorrow.
Has it given you more of a chance to get more work done compared to your average week?
A little bit, I think. We're still at that point of building up players' fitness, and players are all at different points. Some players have been a little bit later coming back into training. This has been James Chester's first week. Obviously, Joe Allen and Adam Davis have joined us after an extended break from the Euros. So there's an element of that, and just making sure that we're starting ready to come into games, because in the next 2 weeks, for example, we're going to play Saturday, Saturday, and then have a full week's prep into the first game of the season. So it's starting to follow the pattern that we would be used to as the season gets underway.
I suppose this sort of camp as well allows the players and the staff to mix and get to know each other.
It does. Ideally when you come away, you want all of your squad together. We don't have that at the minute. We're still working hard to add to the squad. But the players we're trying to bring to the club, we have to be patient. But the most important thing is it's given opportunities to some of the younger players as well. So we've had maybe as many as 7 or 8 of the younger lads with us, so they've had an opportunity to show what they can do, and it helps them as well integrate with the senior players, on a basis where they're not just at the training ground, and obviously that's been a positive as well.
You mentioned some of the younger players there. Have you been pleased with what you've seen from them in this camp?
Yeah, I have. They've always shown a really good attitude when they've come up, to be fair. There's never been an issue with that, and they've contributed a lot to this camp. Eddie Jones has particularly done well, Adam Porter, but overall they've all shown us something. They're not at that stage where they're ready to play, I don't think, to be honest, but we learn how close they are in terms of when they're working on a daily basis with us, and we have to look at what the pathway is for these players going forward as well.
You brought 3 players into the club already this summer. How have they settled into things?
Really good. Ben Wilmot has settled in extremely well. He's demonstrated straight away, obviously, what a good player he is. He's still a very young player, but showing real quality on the ball, and the type of centre-back that we've been looking for, and adds to the selection of centre-backs that we have. I think Mario Vrancic, again, has demonstrated his quality, can play in a number of positions, but technically very, very good, excellent on the ball, has fit it in really well with the lads as well. And Jack Bonham's come in as to put competition for Adam and Joe Bursick in the goalkeeping side of things, and again has settled in well. So we've got a good group. It's quite young in a lot of areas as well, which is nice, and it's a big change from the sort of the squad of players that we had when we came into the club 18 months ago.
The 3 already through the door. I'd imagine you're still hoping to add a few and maybe move a few on as well. Yeah,
there's still players on the periphery who aren't with us, who it's probably in their best interest to find another option in terms of where they play their football next season, and we're actively trying to add to the squad as well. So that'll be ongoing. Obviously the window doesn't shut to the end of August, and we're looking for players that can come in and really strengthen the team, not just strengthen the squad. So we've set the bar quite high for that. Hopefully we'll get them. If we don't, obviously we'll have to look at other options as well.
Some of the work this week's been undertaken by Mark Burton, a new coach that you've brought to the club. What will he bring?
Well, Mark comes from a slightly different, I suppose, angle to we feel that with the younger players in particular, and we say younger players, I include in that people like Harry Souttar and Tyrese Campbell and those types of players, and he can maybe add something on a more individual basis with those players. I think for us as a staff, sometimes it's difficult when you're going from game to game to have the time to devote to those younger players, and they're really the real assets within the club as well. So at one point last season, we think we had as many as 10 players in our squad that were 21 and under. So Mark is essential in helping those players. He also works with us on a daily basis with the team as well, and how we want to play. But it's important, you know, when we set things out from either a tactical point of view or an individual point of view, that then he can possibly articulate that to the players and what they need to do to improve in those areas. So he's had it a lot so far, and he's getting to know the players. But yeah, we're delighted with that appointment.
You mentioned earlier the fact that you've obviously got that game against Linfield tomorrow. I suppose that gives you an opportunity to put into practice some of the things that you've seen on the training pitch this week.
Yeah, it does, and it's a build-up of fitness. You know, we played Hibs on this time a week ago. We were everyone basically played 45 minutes, and Danny played a little bit longer because of Will Forrester's injury. But now we're starting to sort of players. We hope players will go 60, 70 minutes, building forward into, you know, quite quickly getting up to 90 minutes. So this game's important. Linfield are in season. They've played in European football already this season, so it'll give us a good test.
Sam Clucas has obviously signed a 2-year deal. You must be pleased with that one.
Yeah, very pleased. It was Sam had an option in his contract that, you know, at the club we weren't able to take that up because of the financial implications of that, and we've come to an agreement which Sam's happy with and we're happy with as a club to give him 2 years going forward, and you know, he now just has to focus on his football. It was a more difficult year for him last year, a bit of uncertainty and a couple of injuries as well, but he's trained extremely well pre-season, and you know, hoping for a big season from him.
At the other end of the spectrum, obviously young goalkeeper in Blondie's headed out on loan to Crawley. A good loan move for him.
It is. It's very difficult to get young goalkeepers out and getting them playing, you know, so we hope Blondie can go there and show what he's capable of and, you know, get regular game time. We all know, we feel that he has enormous potential, but he has to translate that into games, and it's difficult to get that opportunity. So we're delighted that he's gone there. There was one or two other options that we had explored, but as I say, we can keep an eye on him between now and January, and obviously monitor his development very closely.
There's obviously a vacancy going in terms of the captain. Are you edging closer to knowing who you'll appoint? Yeah,
I've got an idea, really. You know, it's not something that I put a huge emphasis on at this minute in time. I think obviously at Stoke, you've had a scenario where you've had a captain for a long time in Ryan Shawcross. Since I've come to the club, obviously I never really had Ryan available, so we always had a transient captaincy in a way. So yeah, look, we have good leaders in the squad. You know, I look at, you know, the likes of Chester, Joe Allen, Clucas, Danny Batt, good people in Stephen Fletcher as well, that maybe haven't been in the club as long, but they show really, you know, the right types of character that we want in the club, and you know, we've got enough good candidates for the armband.
With the game against Linfield tomorrow and the 4 after that back home, do you feel as though they'll give you the base to hopefully hit the ground running for the start of the season?
Yeah, we talked about that today after training. You know, we're 3 weeks out really from the first game of the season, and you know, there's a real onus on the players now to really push and be ready for that opening game. And you know, they're all at this stage. Some are a little bit more ahead of others, just because of whether it's been a slight injury they've come into pre-season with, or they've been recovering from something at the tail end of last season. But yeah, the focus is on making sure the next 3 weeks that, you know, each day we add a little bit, another layer of preparation to be ready for the first game of the season.